Hello friends, in today's question, two balls having linear momenta P1, which is P with a unit vector I, and P2 with a unit vector I and minus P is a magnitude, undergo a collision in the free space. There is no external force acting on the two balls. Let P1 prime and P2 prime be their final momenta. The following option is or are not allowed for any non-zero value of P, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1 and C2. So these are the final value of P1 prime and P2 prime, that is momenta after the collision, and it is said that all these values are non-zero. So we have to find out which of them will be true. So it is given that before collision their momentum is given as P1, which is equal to P of I with the unit vector, and we have P2, which is equal to minus P of unit vector I. So we can say that the initial momentum, or rather total initial momentum, will be equal to P1 plus P2, and let us call this initial momentum as Pi. So this will equal to P unit vector I minus P unit vector I, and this will become a 0. And it is said that their final momenta are P1 prime and P2 prime. P1 prime and P2 prime. So you can say final momentum is equal to P1 prime plus P2 prime, and let us suppose it is denoted as PF, and it is said that there is no external force acting on it. It means the momentum will be conserved. We can say in the absence of external force, external force, initial momentum is equal to final momentum. So we can say P of I is equal to P of F, which is equal to 0. So we are going to find out which of the option will be correct with non-zero values. So let us check option A. We are going to find P1 prime plus P2 prime. We can say that P1 prime plus P2 prime will be written as P1 is A1 I unit vector plus Bj unit vector, B1 rather, plus C1 K unit vector plus A2 unit vector plus B2 unit vector, and their addition will be coming equal to as A1 plus A2 unit vector plus B1 plus B2 J unit vector and C unit vector K. Now the summation of this cannot be equal to 0. This cannot be equal to 0 because this first term can be equal to 0 if this can be equal to 0 if A1 is equal to minus of A2 or A2 is equal to minus of A1. The second term can also be equal to 0 under the condition that if b1 is equal to minus of b2, or we can say b2 is equal to minus of b1, but the c1 cannot be equal to 0 because he said that these are the non-zero values. Therefore, their summation cannot be equal to 0. Okay. Thus, we can say that p1 prime plus 2p2 prime cannot be equal to 0. But from here we can say p final cannot be equal to 0. But we already concluded that p final is equal to 0. This is one of the conditions which is not allowed. Similarly, let us try for option B. Say option B, we have p1 prime plus p2 prime. It will be coming as c1k prime plus c2k prime, and their addition gives us c1 c2 k prime. And this we can say can be equal to 0 if c1 is equal to minus of c2 or c2 is equal to minus of c1. Okay. So this is true, because here we can say if this p1 prime plus p2 prime is equal to 0, therefore from here we can say that p1 prime plus p2 prime will be equal to 0, or final you can say momentum is equal to 0, and which is true. Next is option number C. We write p1 prime plus p2 prime, and p1 is a1i plus b1j plus c1k plus a2i plus b2j and minus c1k, and their addition will be coming equal to as a1 plus a2 I plus b1 plus b2 j plus c1 minus c1 k. From here also you can say that this can be written as equal to 0 under the condition that this term will be 0 if we have a1 is equal to minus of a2 or a2 is equal to minus of a1. This term can also be equal to 0 if b1 is equal to minus of b2 or b2 is equal to minus of b1, and this term is itself is completely equal to 0. So from here we can say that our p1 prime plus p2 prime is equal to 0, or we can say the final momentum is equal to 0, and this is also true. And now next is our option number D. So we can say option D, we write this as p1 prime plus p2 prime. This will be coming as a1 unit vector plus b1 j vector and plus a1 a2 sorry plus b1 unit vector, and if we add them we get this as a1 plus a2 I unit vector plus b1 j unit vector, and this cannot be equal to 0. Okay. Because this term can be equal to 0 under the condition that if a1 is equal to minus of a2 or a2 is equal to minus of a1, but this term cannot be equal to 0 because b1 it is given, it can never be equal to 0. So therefore we can say that B and C are only the two options which are the correct one. Okay. So B or C are the two options which are correct. From here we can say option B and C are the correct options. So we have this as the correct option and this also correct option. Therefore, B and C are the two options which are the correct one. So this completes the question. Thank you. There was a slight mistake on my part. It is asked that which are not allowed. Okay, so this is, we can say that is allowed. Sorry, I have written correct. Okay. So this we can say this is option which is allowed because the initial final momentum p1 prime plus p2 prime is coming equal to 0, and this option is also allowed because here also it is coming equal to 0, and it is asked the option which are not allowed. Okay, so this option is not allowed. And this option is also not allowed. Okay, that was a mistake on my part. So we can say this option is allowed and C option is also allowed, but the option which is not allowed is A. This is not allowed and this option is also not allowed. Therefore, you can say we have option A and D which are not allowed because we are supposed to find out the not allowed. Therefore, you can say, let me correct it, this will be A and this will be D. Okay. My apologies, I made a mistake in it. Okay. Thank you.